Okay, we're going to start with the story of David by David. David, tell me sort of what early memories you may have of when you were like a little kid. And I'm talking about, I mean, when you were up to like maybe 5 years old. I don't know if you have too many memories of all of that, but tell us what you've got of that.
Well, I was born in Boston, and I lived in Boston for several years when I was a real young kid, and I don't remember a thing about it. I just am told that I lived on Charles Street, and my mother struggled with the family, because my father was not a very good provider. We moved out to my grandparents. My grandmother and grandfather had 14 children, 12 of whom survived adulthood. So I was surrounded by uncles and aunts, girlfriends, boyfriends, and their property was right on the Charles River. And so we lived in boats and canoes and kayaks and hiked across, there was woods across the river, and we fished and hunted, and it was just a great upbringing.
How old were you when you did the hunting? And
Well,
hiking
when
and
I
stuff?
say hunting, we went out with our BB guns.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But how,
Okay, so
How
now
old were you at that
so I'll tell you my earliest memory.
yeah.
When I was about 5 years old, we had the 1938 hurricane that hit Massachusetts. And I remember that very well because we went out and just leaned against the wind. I saw a barn blow down and blew down our fruit trees and ruined our arbor. I remember that very clearly. We had tremendous snowstorms, and we loved the winter because we skied, we ice skated, tobogganed, and what we loved to do when we had these big, soft snowfalls, we'd get out by the street light and watch the snow coming down. It was just wonderful. We loved winter.
Okay.
Love winter.
Let's move to a little bit older. So let's move to say when you were more than 5 years old, but like less than 13. I mean, pre-adolescent.
Well, I had a lot of friends, a lot of guy friends, and we played a lot of baseball. The area we lived in was not fully developed into the fields, and so we played ball. The interesting thing is there was one gal, a real tomboy, and she had all the equipment. She had the balls and the bat and everything, so we did things her way.
Okay.
And as you know, as a group, we did a lot of things. We went to the swimming holes a lot. We'd swim up and down the river, hike.
This was the Charles River?
This is the Charles River. Now the Charles River, at where I'm talking about, is sort of midway between Hopkinton, where the marathon starts, you know, the marathon to Boston,
Yeah.
and Boston, where the Charles River empties into the bay. So at my grandmother's place, the river probably was 100 feet across.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
How deep?
There was a channel, and then it spread out. And probably the deepest was probably 8 feet.
Fishing?
Hmm?
Fishing? Was there fishing?
There was fishing, but when I was growing up, the mills were in full blossom. And during the week, you would get Green River, Red River, Yellow River, and then of course on the weekends they were operating and the river was clear. Now the rivers are clear completely, and all the fish have gone black. We even have otters there now. So things have really improved.
What, of that period of time, say 5, 6 years old up until, you know, just before starting junior high or something like that, elementary school kind of stuff, what's the best time do you remember? I think you may have already talked about some of it.
Yeah, the best, I think, is doing things out in the wild, in the river and in the woods. That was our thing. That really was our thing. And we used to, in the fall, we'd go picking blueberries and hazelnuts, and it was just wonderful.
Did this influence your later career choices by any chance?
It did. It did. As a matter of fact, back in high school, I was a salutatorian and I gave a speech on wildlife. So, yes,
Okay.
it definitely did.
Okay, we'll get to the high school in a minute. What were some of the worst things you may have remembered about that middle early stage of life?
This is before. Are you talking about before going to school? Or?
No, the elementary, like the elementary
Elementary
level,
school?
just before going to junior high, or
Well, I can recall going up to elementary school and dealing with bullies. That was pretty bad. Trying to avoid the bullies.
what did they do?
Well, they would harass you and intimidate you, and then sometimes, push you down, things like that.
Were they trying to get money like they do today?
No,
Or
just being macho.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So dealing with that, dealing with some of the dog days in summer because there was no air conditioning back then, and we did have some really hot days and very, very humid, and just dealing with that, just not moving all day long.
I kind of remember, and I'm what, 10 years younger or so than you are, 10, 11 years younger, but I remember no air conditioning. And those dog days of summer, late August, or even sometimes early September. And all we had was fans in the window. And I remember at night it would be, you'd have the fan going to get the wind on you, but that was it.
We didn't even have fans.
Oh,
So.
okay.
The other thing is, we were very poor, and so we were not involved in a lot of social things that required money.
Okay. What did you do for fun as a family? Was it the hiking and going out?
Right. I think I've gone over that pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah. But
Yeah.
that's what you did.
And then finally, my mother was able to buy a car, and then we did a lot of driving around. We enjoyed that.
Okay.
That was a big thing at that time.
When
And by the way, my grandfather, who was a retired mason, had a Model T, and he and I got along real good together. He let me drive that car.
when I just realized it's probably useful to get some dates. I don't mean the date, but some years associated with some of this. So we're talking about.
Well, I was born in '33,
right.
and so we're talking about the 40s, the early
Or the late
40s,
30s,
the early
late
40s, right? And I can remember horses and carts coming in picking up scrap metal and rags. The iceman he had that leather thing over his shoulder and he delivered ice to ice boxes. My grandmother had a range, and I can't remember she burned wood at one time, but I can remember using coal, and then she turned to that gurgling kerosene, and then finally she got a good range.
Okay, because now I'm getting a little different perspective on it because you were born 33.
Right.
Okay, 10 years later, age 10, it's 1943,
Right.
where not the end at all, but really more like the middle of World War II.
Right.
And now you're 10 years old, and now you're moving into these adolescent years coming up in a year or two. But you're kind of right in the middle of World War II. Do you remember stuff about the impact, or?
I do. We had Medway is a town, but there's a West Medway and a Medway. And they had a theater, really wasn't a theater, it was the town hall that they converted. They showed movies on Saturdays. And so for a quarter we could go down and watch a movie. And they always had the newsreels, Path Warner, what was going on in the military. So we were aware of what was going on, but not too interested. Well,
Because you were young.
because we were young. It didn't affect us, and the only time we thought about it was when we were watching the movies.
Right.
And then occasionally listening to my uncles and aunts and parents.
Right. Did you have big family get-togethers?
We did.
Because it sounds like it was a huge family.
We did, and especially on Thanksgiving and Christmas, the table with all the leaves in it, with extra tables on either end, and of course a turkey, and probably a roast, and lamb with mint, and sweet potatoes, and squash, and everything you can think about, pumpkin, all kinds of pies, mince pies, apple pies.
Is this like the picture of the Thanksgiving with the pilgrims?
Yes,
You know,
yes,
laid out?
yeah, it really was. Now, I think three of my uncles were in the service. My uncle, Tommy was an airplane mechanic in England, attached to a bomber squadron. My uncle Charlie was in the Philippines. He was a medic in the Philippines. And my uncle Joe was a captain with the Merrill Marauders in Burma. So they were all in the service at the same time. So my grandmother had 3 stars thing hanging in the window.
Did you also get together for Christmas?
Oh,
And if so, what was that like?
well, there was a crowd of people. And we always seemed to, we had a custom at Christmas. And that was Christmas Eve. Presents weren't open until Christmas Day. But we had what we call a grab bag. And it really was a bag. And you went inside, you grabbed, you got a present. And we went around the room. And all of my uncles and aunts played an instrument. Flute, mandolin, banjo, piano, violin. They all played instruments. And they all played instruments when we got together.
Oh, wow.
My Uncle Ernie played the trumpet. Boy, was he good. The cornet, I guess. And that was wonderful.
Oh, they're higher pitched.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So,
All right. We can come back anytime you want to any of this. Let's sort of move forward a bit into your formative growth adolescent years in junior high and high.
Okay.
And what that was like.
Okay. Well, I had trouble in junior high. I don't know why, but I just couldn't study. I was always agitating with people. And Massachusetts has, at least in the populated counties, every single county has an agricultural high school. And that was an option. I could either stay there or go to the high school. So when I finished junior high, I went to the agricultural high school, and I went over stayed there and boarded there. Hitchhiked over Sunday afternoon, hitchhiked back Friday afternoon. And it was a wonderful place. It was actually a huge farm with a few academic buildings. And I worked on the farm afternoons and weekends. My room and board was $5.40 a week, and I earned my own room and board.
Did you go the entire high school time?
I went the entire time. I boarded there, and it was the most wonderful time I've had in my life. I was in the basketball team. I was only 5'9½", so I could only be a guard. Terrible player, but I made the team. Lousy shot. But I made the varsity, and I played, and we played all little towns around. And that was fun. We didn't have football because it was too small. We played soccer, and we did cross country running.
Probably most people, especially younger people, don't give much thought to a high school Aggie and what that's like.
Yeah.
And it's one thing at a college level, you're 19, 20, 21, 22. To me, it's another, and also you're living there. As an adult going to an Aggie college, I mean, you
Well, this wasn't a college, this was a high school.
Right, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Right, exactly. So I can understand Aggie college and people even have dorms, but they go away. What you did, in Aggie High School, you were living there.
Well, it was a life change for me.
Right.
My whole attitude changed.
Well, tell me. Yeah, tell
I
me.
excelled in all of the academic things. We had courses in floriculture, market gardening, dairying. We did all of those things.
Right.
And we actually did things like be blindfolded and judge apples and tell the species of apples by just feeling them and smelling them.
What do you
Okay.
think was the reason for that huge change in attitude?
Well, probably it related back to my early love of the outdoors and things earthy, I guess.
Okay.
And I can't explain the academic part because when I finished high school, I had high enough grades that I was certified to go to the University of Massachusetts without taking any tests. I didn't go because I couldn't afford to go.
Right. So that was your big life change, right? That was
Right.
one of the big life changes.
It really
right
was.
there.
And it was fun.
And that's probably part of why you did well. Because it was
I
fun.
made a lot of friends there.
That's great. Okay. You're sort of talking about some of the best times there. Do you remember any not so best times there? Were there any really bad times?
Well, I can remember when I first was registering to go into the high school. The director was in a platform up above, and I heard him talk to the other guy and say that, boy, there's a wise guy. And that really affected me. I don't know why he said that, but he did, and that affected me badly. Other than that, I really can't think of any bad things.
You had a good time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We had in the dormitory that I stayed, we had a man and his wife, and he was severely handicapped with clubfoot and that sort of thing, and he had a little place on a lake, and he used to he'd take us up to this lake, and we'd go fishing and boating up there. So it was pretty good.
You got your.
He also had a little concession stand where we could buy candy and things. Now, almost all of the food we had came from the farm, and we would sit at tables and they had these metal jugs of milk and just full, and we'd use them up and then fill them up again.
Sounds like one of your family get-togethers.
Yeah, well, it was a dormitory.
Yeah, it sounds like one of your family get-togethers.
Yeah.
You're out on the farm, and look, I'm not natural rural. I've just,
You're a city guy.
adopted. Yeah. I'm a city guy who loves the outdoors, who kind of adopted living out in the country now.
Right.
Knowing from out in the country, there had to be some funny stuff. I mean, you're out and farm stuff. I mean, and funny things. I mean.
Oh yeah. Well,
tell me about some of the.
I
funny
think at one time we were picking fruit. No, not fruit. We were picking vegetables from the market garden, and we started to have a food fight. Tomatoes and peppers and squash, and it was a mess after we got through. But we had so much fun doing that.
Who cleaned that up?
Well, we did.
Okay.
And we got heck for it too. Another time, which was not so much fun, was we had an apple fight. Now, have you ever been hit by an apple? That was
Especially if they're fresh.
right.
It's like a hard snowball.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't so much fun. As a matter of fact, one guy was a big guy, threw an apple, hit me in the head, and I got so mad I threw a punch at him. He blocked the punch and got me down, and he was through. He didn't want to do anything else. He let me up, and that was it. But
Well, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah, that was good. Oh, good for him.
yeah,
Oh, restraint.
yeah.
You were around, I assume, farm animals.
Oh yes.
Horses, cows, sheep.
Mostly cows. I remember one time the dairy, how they call him? He was in charge of the dairy. Okay,
Right.
he was a fairly young man, and he was kind of bravado, and we had a steer, and he went into the enclosure with the steer, and the steer pinned him up against the wall. He was lucky. The horns were on either side of him.
Right. Right.
And we distracted the steer, and he was able to climb out. He was lucky. A huge bull.
There had to be some funny stories with the animals. There's got to be some funny.
Not really.
Funny, you don't have any funny
I don't have
stories?
any. No, I really don't.
Oh, come
I
on,
don't.
David.
We had to learn. We learned how to milk with machines,
Right.
and then you had to strip the cows afterwards, get the rest of the milk out.
Right.
But that, there was a lot of jokes about that. But
That's
I can't think of anything funny with animals. I really can't.
You didn't have horses.
They had horses, but I wasn't involved in those.
Okay, then you would have had some funny stories.
Probably, yeah.
Yes, sir.
We didn't ride horses.
Ah.
I think they probably had a couple of draft horses and something like that.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay.
It was about a 100-acre spread.
Oh, it's a nice size.
Yeah.
That's a nice size. Okay. What, if anything, was the most stupid thing you can remember happening back in those days? Either to you or other people did. Something really, and if you did it, it's okay. Something really stupid.
Well, I wouldn't call it stupid, but unusual. I guess other people would call it stupid.
It counts.
We hitchhiked from Walpole, which was where the school was, in the dormitory, to Norwood, where there were some theaters, and we were going down to a movie. So we were hitchhiking, and it rained. We had a real downpour. Didn't bother us a bit. And the gutters were just running, deep. And so we just laid down in the gutters and let the current carry us down.
Okay. Oh.
And we got soaking wet.
Well, yeah.
And we still went to the movies.
So you were playing boat?
Yeah, in the gutters.
No, that's not stupid. Okay.
A lot of fun.
Does that qualify? I was just going to say that qualifies as the most fun question.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other particular memories right now that come back to you about those days at the high school?
Well, cross country. I thought I'd try that. So I tried it one year, and I came in 13th. I came in 11th.
Out of?
Out of 30, something like that.
Okay.
So, okay. I almost died, and I almost threw up when I got through. So the next year I tried it, and I came in 13th, and I said, this is probably not for me. I decided not to do it anymore. We had a lot of fun playing soccer. We didn't compete. We did shot put in high jump and hurdles and all sorts of things. Again, we didn't compete. Too small. My graduating class was 30.
Not too big.
No.
Okay.
And there was, at the time I was there were no girls. It was all boys. They weren't prohibited from there. They just weren't any. Now I understand it's 75% girls. So,
Could be fun.
yeah.
Now wait, let's get some timing here.
This was...
When you graduated?
I graduated in 51,
51.
started in 48.
Started 48. Okay.
Right.
All right. So now we're at the end of high school. Excuse me, at the end of high school. You're 18, 17,
18, yeah.
18. It's 1950.
51.
51. Korea.
Right.
What happened now?
Well, like I told you, I was certified to go to the University of Massachusetts. No way I could afford to go there. So I decided I'd join the Army for the benefits, for the GI benefits. That was the sole purpose. Well, I thought maybe I'd make a career out of it.